Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here. My next Star Wars Rebels episode review. This one is going to be for Season 3, Episode 3, The Holocrons of Fate. In terms of the numbering, that's the way I'm going to be doing it. I'm just going to be treating the first episode as 2 episodes because production order, I think that's the way they are treating it. So for me, this is the 3rd episode. I'll just briefly explain now. I'm not on camera for this one, only audio because it's pretty late right now and the lighting in my room is horrible, so I didn't want to do that and subject you to me in the dark basically. And I can't record the video tomorrow, otherwise I probably would have delayed it, so you're going to have to deal with this for now. But anyway, let's get into the review. I thought this was a much better episode than the opening 1 hour premiere. Just because it set up more stuff, it actually felt more important than the premiere episode, for a number of reasons. One, Maul came back. I didn't expect that this early in the season, and it made the episode feel really big and important. It also, I think, built off the premiere and did more with it in terms of like, okay, we're really actually going for some sort of a, guilt type thing between Ezra and Kanan, in that Ezra blames himself for Kanan getting blinded because Ezra trusted Maul initially and Maul then betraying them. Kanan was the one who got hurt because of that. So I kind of like that as a moment. There was the really nice emotional moment towards the end of the episode where there was the hug between the two, which highlights, that their relationship is more than just master and apprentice. It is, brothers, father-son almost, between Kanan and Ezra. And then I suppose overall Maul just being in the episode added a lot to it because he is an important character, obviously with links to the movies. And for me, how this episode ended with the setup for Ezra potentially having some ideas about the key moments that will ultimately lead to the defeat of the Sith, and that potentially being a small aspect of the plot going forward, is going to be interesting to me, in that he may not know everything exactly what to do, but he'll maybe remember like glimpses of like, this planet is important for this reason and this planet is important for this reason, and that will be kind of part of how the rebellion really begins to form. The other side of that was, obviously, when the holograms came together, what Maul was looking for was knowledge about Obi-Wan, basically. Now, they didn't say it as such, but there's only one person really out there who Maul would think that much about. And I think the creators have to know that when you say something like that, leave it vague. Mention kind of Tatooine as like one aspect of what they're both seeing with the whole twin sons line. You have to be referring to Maul Obi-Wan. And for me, Obi-Wan's obviously my favorite character. Just the potential of that being a side plot that we get is fascinating to me. If that was just a one-off episode at some point towards the end of the season, that Maul is kind of gone basically from the season apart from that, and then we just get a resolution with Obi-Wan on Tatooine, that's fascinating to me. They may end up doing something where we see Luke a little bit, like everyone converges on Tatooine, and we see Luke in or around this age, and something happens there. But on the other side of the episode, Maul and Obi-Wan have a battle, because I think Obi-Wan probably has to meet this group of rebels to kind of highlight why like Leia would be kind of for bringing Obi-Wan in A New Hope. So I can see ultimately the season maybe towards the middle or towards the end building towards something like that. It's probably still a good few episodes into the future and not anything we'll see soon, but just the potential that's out there, that Maul now has hope, that the only thing that was left for him was trying to end things with Obi-Wan, that's what gives him hope, just knowing that he's alive. and he is now completely set on that. Like, he doesn't seem to have any other crazy goals, like taking over Mandalore, like he referenced in this episode, or criminal underworld organization or anything like that. He doesn't really seem to care all that much about being a Sith or a dark side user. It's just Obi-Wan, that rivalry that he has. And I'm all for that. I hope they commit to it. I hope we get to see that fight, because it's always been something with Obi-Wan that I've wanted to see. Given that they've decided to bring Maul back, that Obi-Wan should be the one to ultimately defeat Maul in the end, as I suppose one of the bigger aspects of him protecting Luke, just that there's this one key threat, like the only thing that in any way put like Luke in any huge danger during the whole Tatooine thing, was this arrival of Maul that he stopped. I'd love to see them do something with that going forward. But again, that's mostly speculation about the future rather than the focus of this episode itself. The actual plot thing of Maul knowing how to combine a Sith holocron and a Jedi holocron together, and that it would show you basically a secret that it's so powerful that it will show you a secret regardless of what the two holocrons are actually about. Just this power of, just power of the light, not power and knowledge of the light, power and knowledge of the darkness coming together gives you the ability to basically find out the truth of any secret. And do we get the whole idea of Ezra wants to know how to destroy the Sith, Maul wants to know about Obi-Wan. They end up basically focusing on roughly the same thing, because Luke is sort of the key to defeating the Sith, and for Maul, knowing that Obi-Wan is still alive on Tatooine potentially is interesting. Now, whether or not he knows all those details and he's immediately heading to Tatooine, I'm not sure, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I thought it was interesting that they immediately resolved the whole thing with the holocron. That we ended the premiere with like, oh yeah, the holocron's gone, I've left it with Bendu, it's fine. And then we immediately start this episode with, what about the holocron? And then suddenly Maul is in play and he wants the holocron. I like that. I like the pace. I really enjoyed the pacing of just, we are getting straight down to business. Maul in the third episode. We're not getting a bunch of random episodes in between something big happening. No, he just shows up. No setup for his arrival. He just shows up and has the rest of the Ghost crew as prisoners already. Very, very interesting. We didn't get a ton of action in this episode because this wasn't meant to be the big fight with Maul. So the key action scenes were like Ezra and Kanan going through the spider's nest to get the holocron. The little bit of action we saw when Maul tried to kill Kanan by shoving him out the airlock, which, it's always one of those things where, like, scientifically, like, going out into space like that, like, yeah, there's really no way he could have done that, and it's just the quickness of like, he's out, he's back in, was a little bit like, did you really have to do that overall? I get that they needed the whole idea of him planning to go against the deal and kill everyone, and his failed killing of Kanan allowed Kanan to then save everyone else, but I think there was a way they could have written around that whole issue. Anything else about the episode? I again, Maul being in the episode, I think added a lot. Little things like seeing him interact with so many of the people on the Ghost crew, like refer to Sabine as a Mandalorian and reference the whole fact that he was once the leader of Mandalore, as we saw in the Clone Wars, and her admitting that actually happened. The funny little moments as he walks by each of the Ghost crew's quarters, their rooms, and he's like, oh, the smell of Zeb's room. He doesn't like the colour of the art in Sabine's room, and then the comment about how drab Kanan's room is as a Jedi and how much he hates that. I really like those little touches, that he still doesn't have a lot of good feelings about Jedi and hates the whole idea of how bland they are overall. But overall, the episode was very effective. using the Ghost Crew as this big threat, bringing Ezra and Kanan closer even than they kind of became once again in the premiere. There's still, I think, much more to come, and I still think they could have done a better job at kind of setting up what immediately is next, because as much as I speculate that they may use these kind of fragments of this big vision that Ezra has just had to set up where the series is going, I still feel we are ultimately going to go back to more kind of formulaic episodes where, like, let's get this one ship for the rebellion in this episode and not really have the episode feel important. Let's go get this person who has intel for the rebellion and help them. Those are the sort of episodes where I'm worried about this season falling into, whereas they've already set up big things like Obi-Wan versus Maul, something we've wanted to see. We already saw a little bit of it in the Clone Wars, but there was almost so much going on during their battles in the Clone Wars. Like, you had Savage Opress involved, you had Ahsoka, Anakin at times involved, Ventress, all of these characters involved in these fights. This really feels like it's going to be the one-on-one that we've kind of been waiting for a while, and probably to kind of finish off the arc, because a lot of people have kind of been like, okay, Maul, it's cool, I like that they've expanded his story out, I feel the same way, but I ultimately feel he's one of those characters you have to give some sort of a resolution to, and realistically, the only way to do that is by killing him, and I think the only effective way to have that happen is for Obi-Wan to be the one to defeat him and kind of get his victory back after Maul obviously came back in the Clone Wars. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. I think this episode proved that the show can be really good. It's just the show needs much more episodes like this one, and not like the episode that I assume is coming next, which will probably be a return to, rebels doing stuff to help the rebellion, which doesn't really feel massively important. But based on the premiere, they have set up that, they're hitting home this idea of this rebel network, that there's different cells all over the place. Thrawn hasn't properly been introduced or used effectively just yet, so there's some stuff still out there still to be resolved. I just hope they execute it effectively and don't do the thing they did in season 1 and 2 where the plot is only at the start, at the end, and a little bit in the middle. All the other episodes are not important. Please use plot, character, and importance throughout the entire season. But yeah, that's been the video. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the episode. But I'll end by saying, links to my Twitter and Tumblr if you want to follow me on social media in the description. If you want to support my channel, links to my Patreon page and my PayPal donation link are also in the description. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.